Hey guys, welcome to Lauren's Reality. As usual, I am Lauren. Today we're back in the office and we're going back to our countdown list that we were talking about previously. And our next strategy is BRRR. If you haven't heard of it before, it sounds a little funny, but it stands for buy, renovate, rent, and refi. So this is a great strategy pretty much across the board, but you have to be very careful and know the type of properties that you're purchasing. It is exactly what the words stand for, which I'm gonna buy a property. So when I'm buying that property, I wanna make sure of a couple of things. One, that I know what the rent level is gonna be, because a lot of me going into this type of strategy has to do with, can I make the return that I want to make a payment that I need to make during the process. And what this does is it frees up your money. So if I buy something, put money in it to renovate it, rent it, and then refinance it, I can pull my cash back out that I put into the property at the beginning and then be able to buy more properties and do the same thing over and over again. So if you are looking for a particular property, the rent is important, like I said, but the value is also important, because if I went and found a property, let's say that I found one for $50,000, but it needed $30,000 in renovations to get it to a point where I can put a tenant into it. I would pause for a second and recommend that if you are dealing with rental properties, a lot of landlords, especially smaller when they first start out, will try to cut corners. They'll try to find ways to make things cheaper or to not do as much out of the gate. These are the differences between what we call OPEX and CAPEX. And OPEX means the money that it takes to run the property on a regular basis. So those are things like your taxes, your insurance, your basic maintenance, like painting, refreshing a property. Whereas CAPEX are things that I have to do to a property sometime in its lifespan. So if I have to replace a roof, replace an HVAC, replace a water heater, all of those things are CAPEX, and you can stretch those out across the life of a property. If you don't have a good accountant, now's the right time to get one if you're trying to get into these types of strategies, because how you write off those things and how you stretch them out across the life of the property is going to make a big difference for a strategy like this. But I would say make sure that you take care of safety and functional items at the time of purchase, because if you put a tenant in there, they're going to find the problems eventually. So you might as well take care of it up front. So if I had $50,000, $30,000 in reno, I'm $80,000 into the property. But let's say in market value, it's only worth 70 or 75. Then I've made a bad investment in this particular case, because BRRR is totally reliant on me being able to refinance and pull my money back out. Now I may not be able to get 100% of my money. That's the goal on every property. So you should look at underwriting in that way. I want to be able to buy and renovate at least 75% of value. So that way I can get a loan at a 75, 80% LTV. Going back to our old days, that's loan to value. So I need to have some equity built in so that I can get that money back. If you follow this strategy, what it allows you to do is build a rental portfolio with loans and leverage that lets you buy more properties than what you have readily available in cash. It's a very popular strategy for people first starting out trying to build larger rental portfolios, but be very cautious. Make sure you know your values, make sure you know your rent, and make sure that you account for things like vacancy over the life of the property, because at some point someone's not living there, which means that I can't just say, oh, it's gonna have $1,000 in rent and I'll get that every month, because there inevitably is going to be periods of time that I'm not going to be able to collect that. So as long as you know your numbers and you know what you're looking for, then this is a great strategy for people to use to build long-term rental portfolios. So we're going to keep going with different parts in this series, talking about the other strategies that we mentioned before. So keep coming back. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications on the channel. We, of course, would like you to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.